Hi, I'm Coach MK, founder of the Fitness Protection Program. I'm a run coach, not a life coach. We're never really talking about the running. Running is the tool. It's the conduit we use to examine the world we live in, as well as its impact on our own lives and the lives of the people around us. How we react to certain people and to certain stories tells us a lot about how we view ourselves. I'm committed to the thoughtful, intentional exploration of the importance of running so that no one discounts their own badassery, ever. Final note, this podcast is geared towards every runner who won't lose their home, livelihood, or health insurance if they show up to the corral with a hangover. Not that I'm encouraging you to do that, just saying. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the Fitness Protection Podcast.
Let's do rebuild first. We have one question in rebuild. So I am on the struggle bus big time with balancing work commitments, family, and self-care. I know I need to make more time for me because I'm suffering the most in this equation. Because I am suffering the most in this equation. Yes, correct. It's also hard to keep all the negative comments about myself under control. So where's the line between pushing yourself to do better and berating yourself? Thanks so much for coaching and loving us. I really enjoyed the rebuild podcast. It really reaffirmed how happy I am to be here.
First of all, I don't believe in self-help. I don't believe in inspiration or thinspiration. Anyone that's trying to inspire you is trying to sell you something. And I have a natural distrust of salespeople. That comes from spending a long time on Wall Street and dazzling people with numbers. And because people don't question numbers very often, the more numbers that are thrown at a person, the more likely they are to agree with it. Because if they can't quickly find a way to disagree with that number on its merits, they're going to accept whatever argument's thrown that way and back down. I tell you that to tell you this, that when a person tells you that they really get it with data, just like shut that conversation down. 2, you're fine. You don't need to better yourself. What makes you think that you need to better yourself? Part of it is a cultural conditioning to, you should want to be better than you are right now. I'm the sort of person that's always trying to work on the things I'm bad at. I'm the sort of person that's trying to enjoy what I have. I'm the sort of person that, it's not about, I think I'm perfect. It's about I focus my energy now that I'm 40 fucking years old on doing the things that make me feel good and being around the people who make me feel good and choosing the hobbies that reaffirm all the things that I do like about myself. And there are a few. The amount of time I allow myself to worry about the parts of me that I don't like is this big because I don't owe the rest of the world that. I don't have to fix it for them. If it impacts because there will be things with my spouse. My husband's wonderful. I got 4 kids under 7, no twins. There are always things that need to be fixed. There are always things I have to work on. Breathing techniques. Box breathing is the newest one where where everyone's like, mom, mom, mom. And I'm like, trying to, it's a whole thing. So I save my chits, my betterment, my self-improvement chits for those moments that inevitably pop up that I don't know how to manage, rather than fill my time with the endless quest for better. Brad Stulberg, if you follow him on Twitter already, if you don't, I strongly recommend it, has a lot to say about this too. The wellness and the self-help industry is there to basically make us terrified of ourselves, insecure, doubt ourselves, and spend a whole lot of money to get validation externally that we are performing that quest for better. Therefore, we're a good person. And you know what? If there's nothing specific that you know you need to work on that's threatening anything that you really care about in your life, then really what sort of self-help are you looking for? Because most help that isn't necessary is you berating yourself, or someone who has mean to you in the past berating you, or a family member that maybe demanded a little too much from you, whether or not that was fair, whether or not it was warranted and never let you off the hook. That's where your self-quest is coming from. If I improve this, they will be nice to me. That's a really bad reason to do it. That's a great reason not to hang out with those family members. Go somewhere else for Thanksgiving or find a different way to spend your time rather than trying to better yourself as a shield. If you are bettering yourself as a shield, you are wasting your time. Don't do that because you are never going to get what you're looking for from the people that could give it to you. Make it about what you want in here. And if there are any doubts about how awesome you are, you come to me and I will help you sort them out. I will point out the virtues that you have. I will show you what you're good at. It's probably more than you're getting credit for. And I don't make this stuff up. Self-help is bullshit. And if it's making you feel bad, it's not that you're doing it incorrectly. That's what it's there for. That is the marketing hook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. And I know that it's really, it's a totally different way of moving through the world when you're kind of used to, and I don't know what sort of industry you work in, but I think in a lot of workplaces, there's a lot of rhetoric about, always looking for better, always striving, always optimizing. It's very, very hard to get that stuff out of your head. So like you're not behind for like struggling with this stuff and for having a hard time kind of seeing it for what it is, because it really just, it's everywhere. Yes. So I really think that one of the things that we can give each other in this space and this program is those reminders that don't come very easily. Because there's a sort of expectation like, well, once I say something to you once, you shouldn't expect me to say it again. Like I said, I love you that one time. So like, why do I need to say it every day? Fuck that. That's really.
Why do you need to get married? It's just a piece of paper. Oh, really? No, it's a sense of economic security if I'm actually going to bear your children and you would deny me that. That's not a small thing. Don't get me started. Like,
yeah. It's okay to need affirmation and security every day, and we're here to give that to you.
Mm-hmm. And if someone in your life is refusing to give it to you, you need to question what that person is doing, breathing your ear.
And that is the one question that we have in Rebuild. I'm going to check the Twitch chat right now.
Melissa has a question in Twitch. So I'm going to read this really quickly because I'm pretty sure she's hanging out in Rebuild right now. Yeah. I'm in Rebuild now because of life fatigue, etc. So 150 cap instead. My heart rate has been all over the place. Yes, you should. But you're not supposed to talk about the 150 cap with people outside the program because they get jealous. And the reason that Rebuild has a different cap from Maintain is that they're literally doing harder work and whatever, if they are in Rebuild because of life or if they're coming back from injury, they need a little extra grace on the portions of the workouts where they can go harder. It's not a huge, like, go crazy. At the same time, it is a little bit more. I want being in Rebuild to feel like a special treat and not a punishment. And that's one of the ways I do it. It's one of the fail safes I've built in. So yes, if you are in Rebuild, if you have downloaded Rebuild from into your Training Peaks this month, if that's where you are, you can be in whatever Facebook group you want. I don't really care. What I care about is that you're moving, you feel supported, you're getting what you need. And if you are on the Rebuild plan, then you can absolutely use the Rebuild cap.
Rebuild privilege.
Yeah, Rebuild privilege. That's right.
All right. Well, it's good to see you, Melissa. I know you've checked in a few times lately. It's good to know that you're here and you're sticking with us, even though I know life is kicking you in the face right now.
No, life does that.
Life does that. And you're awesome. We love you.
Yeah. As long as you're doing what you can and you're consciously trying to make space for yourself, that's what matters. The problem, as I see it, and one of the things I beg people to do is to cling to that space with your bare hands if you have to, because once it's gone, it's that much harder to get it back. So even if it's getting up and doing a 20-minute jog in the morning and being like, whatever you're doing can wait, whatever you're doing can wait, whatever you're doing can wait, and making sure that you get a little bit of something for yourself, that is critical because of all the things that could go. If you're the glue holding it all together, then we got to keep you functioning. That metaphor didn't work, but we got to keep you sticky.
I was just going to say, got to keep you sticky. That worked.
Does it? Okay.
Sure.
That's all. Just call me Captain Funbag, but
that you have a way with words. As I said in when I reposted your Instagram thing, you are the bar of our time. And I believe it. I really do. Before we move on to Maintain questions, I have two Maintain shout outs to give to two people who did something pretty out of their comfort zone and epic this weekend. So can I just do that real quick?
Yes, Viola.
All right. The first one is Viola. Viola is an Olympic distance duathlete, y'all. We haven't gotten like a full report, and I'm kind of impatient to get like a blow by blow, literally minute by minute report. Viola, if you're listening, anytime you want, thank you very much. I just want to read real quickly what she posted in the group today. I am an Olympic distance duathlete. Thank you for all the support and encouragement for each other and towards me. I had the endurance to complete the entire event without stopping or walking. My goal was to finish. My oldest son surprised me by announcing my name as I crossed the finish line. Oh my God, that actually makes me cry.
I love it.
Poured all day, 60 degrees and 88% humidity. It hurt. It was elating, hard, and fun. Oh, that makes me so happy. And I'm so happy for you. That is such a cool thing. You went like you had the desire to go do this thing that was really different for you that I have to imagine was kind of terrifying in some ways. And you went and did it. This was her first duathlon.
And by the way, I'm really glad to know it is indeed a duathlon. Someone texted me to be like, FYI, Viola did a biathlon. And I'm like, Viola knows how to shoot and ski? I was very confused.
There's snow right now. Yeah, no.
Well, the season has started in Colorado. There's snow on the mountains and all the biathletes are already out anyway. So there's a part of me that would be, I mean, if you want to do a biathlon, I'm thrilled with that. I was just very like, really?
We will support and validate you all the way to the biathlon, but we know a little bit more what we're doing when it comes to the duathlon. And
I just really, now I'm intrigued though. This is the other thing I've been thinking about today. There is a super masters, like 100-year-old category for biathlon. I've got to go watch that ish. It's going to have to happen.
I think so too.
I'm going to be doing later with my husband.
Oh boy. Now it's been said. So now we know it's going to happen. That's amazing. Okay. My second shout out is to Allison Melly, who is, and she had been in a rough moment. So I'm going to read what she posted. I'm straddling both groups, life getting in the way of running, so can't maintain workouts. For reference, I'm usually a triathlete, but wanting to run year round. Doing Rebuild instead felt like a really good decision. Yes, it was, though I miss feeling strong. Then today, this. I've been supporting a friend in her quest to complete a sprint try for her 60th birthday year. I wasn't going to do the race because of mild tendinitis, and I haven't been swimming or biking since my last race 6 weeks ago, but I really wanted to, so I did. Went with no expectations other than love for the sport. Regretted it at the start. It was a pool swim and the turn stressed me out. But as soon as I got on the bike, I was so happy to be there, and I felt strong and fast. Haven't felt that way in a long time. Run was fast for me. All felt so good. Icing on the cake, I won my age group. Felt good, as my goal for the try has been to someday qualify for age group nationals, and I just did it. I kept saying in my head, if this sets back your running because you overdid it, you know how to handle it because fitness protection.
Absolutely.
She wrote that. She literally wrote that. And I love it. And that's like, it's what you anticipated already, all the things that we would have said. I kind of felt like I was doing something I shouldn't by going fast, but I was having so much fun. Sometimes I have to take the risk. It makes it easier to make the conservative decisions I usually make.
And that's what it's all about. It's about not being about like the most conservative thing year round and saying no to everything you want to do. In previous things, every other coaching program I've ever seen, it's that. It's like, I'm here, I'm going to spend this money, then I need to perform. And it's like, well, if you're going to perform, like capital P perform, then it's just, you have to back into different decisions. When you train this way and you just train all the time, then showing up and being like, I feel it today, boom, it's an option. And I want maximum options available to everyone all the time, except my children, because every option they want to maximize is a complicated schedule. But for everybody else, for my clients.
Elsa and Anna doll. In my case.
I think I want to play lacrosse. No. You're going to have to sell me on this. Yeah. Oh my God, they practice like 4 times a week. I'm like, there's 7. Anyway, tennis is all we can do, and it's super duper casual right now. But that, all that just to say, that is exactly what I wanted to create here. This is why I opened a company in the first place. It was, let's change the decision, the purchasing decision. Let's change the viewpoint and make this just a year-round thing where you can opt into whatever you want without the pressure. That's where the magic comes from. It really is. And I'm glad you got some, Allison. You needed it. I know it's been a really rough year for you. I know everything you're dealing with. Well, not everything. I know some of what you're dealing with because you've told me. And I'm beyond excited for you and beyond proud of you. And I'm thrilled that you got this for yourself.
Me too. God, that was such, I didn't know you were racing today. That was just such a huge welcome surprise when I logged onto Facebook in the middle of the day. I just like both Viola and Allison. I'm so glad you had such good days today. You deserve it so much. And we're so happy to have you. So with that, let's go into our maintain questions. We have 5 questions and 2 of them are 2-parters. So let's buckle up. Question 1. Hi, coaches. I have 2 questions today. Number 1, I'm doing a half in 2 weeks. Can you remind me what the week before's workouts should be? I'm doing all the strength and doing the harder workouts on the treadmill at the moment, and it feels kind of to my plantar fasciitis, even though it's mostly healed. Please, can you talk taper? Number 2, the Training Peaks discussion was very informative and interesting. That's a reference to the podcast we recorded this past week, both as a video webinar and as a podcast in our feed. But I don't know what data I can pull without the premium version. Can you give a breakdown of useful or interesting data points that can be found in the free version, if any? Thank you both for your love and support. It's wonderful to be coached and loved.
Okay, I'm going to start with the Training Peaks question and then come back to the question. So, So I don't want to say none, but it's really kind of none. Most of the stuff that we talked about was in the premium version, and Training Peaks does that intentionally. Like, I don't think you can even click the analyze button if you have to see all the data that we were talking about, unless you have premium. So when it comes to data that you can see, it's just harder to track because you can't, it's the visual representation of the data that really matters. It's not like the data points themselves, but there it does the visualization for you in the analyze panel in premium, and that is not available to you in the free version. So you do get data in the free version, not all of it, but some of it. Like, you can see your training stress score. You can see
that's what I was going to say, yeah,
fitness level rising, but it's having a good idea, because those numbers are meaningless. It's how they interact with each other over time that matters. So without the visual representation, I wouldn't spend too much time worrying about it. I would focus on, because it's a big complaint of mine. Like, I can't get the 2 data points that I want most in a client. One is the efficiency factor, or the VI, which is a power metric that my cyclists and my ultras and my elite runners use. I can't get that in the daily email, even with premium, which is annoying. So you can get that daily email that you get. It's not useless by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just hard to use the data without their systems. I mean, if you really want to download it and create a spreadsheet, great, go for it. But like that is going so far beyond my scope. You'd have to pay me to have that conversation with you, and it's just be cheaper to go pay $120 a year than ask me to do investment banker stuff for free on Twitch on a Sunday night when I can be with my family. I'm sorry. So but remember, because it's never a single data point, it's just in how they all move together over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The one thing that I will say that you would be able to see is like that. So the sort of weekly summation of everything that you've done, that is something that you can see. And that is one thing that we did look at in that webinar, the way my sort of weekly fatigue at first went up when I was adding more stuff in, and then it kind of normalized over time. But again, similarly, and we weren't looking at that. We were just scrolling through week by week and kind of looking at it. If you look at the video, you'll see how we did that. That would be available to you in basic.
In the desktop version.
In the desktop, yeah. So it has to be on the desktop. You can't see that in the app. Yeah. Yeah. That's another thing about Training Peaks, is that the discrepancies between what desktop and mobile can do, even and this is in premium too, are sometimes a little bit confusing and a little bit annoying. It's not perfect. There was at one point at which someone asked us, like, should I get Strava Premium or Training Peaks Premium or both? And like, which is better? And it's like, well, there's no reason to have both, I don't think. And really, it's sort of which interface do you like? And Strava speaks a different language. Like, Training Peaks invented a lot of the metrics that they go by. But, more data is not more better, as we like to say. There's a lot more to be had from the subjective descriptions of what you're doing. Like, how did that feel? Yeah. Did the long run feel really tough? Were you ready to bag it after 2 hours? And then the next time, I'm in, the 4th hour, and I actually, wow, look at that. I feel pretty good. Those are equally important, those kind of descriptors. So keeping a training log and just writing down subjectively afterwards how you feel, how it went, that is going to give you more bang for your buck than any metric. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So true.
So the first part of the question then is about what to do the week before a half.
Yep.
And I think what we generally have people do is a 1-by-1 workout on Monday and a 1-by-1 workout on Wednesday. The workout on Monday should be 60 minutes. The Wednesday one should be, is it 40 or 30?
30.
Yeah.
For the half, 30 is good. 30 is fine.
After, yeah, exactly. And on the other days, it matters a little bit less as long as you're with it, like being super specific down to the minute. As long as you're going pretty easy, stride sandwich. So kind of follow the same layout of the week as we have in Maintain until you get to Thursday before the race. And then Thursday you're off, Friday you're off. You go ahead. You want to say something.
And it's just that the 1-by-1, it's the same instructions that you'll find on the marathon plans, where it's take the total workout time. And if it's 60 minutes divided by 3, 60 divided by 3 is 20. So there are going to be 20-minute segments in there, 20-minute warm up, 20-minute cool down. In the middle is the 1-by-1, 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. That is 20 minutes long. So 20 minutes of 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. That is 10 reps of 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. And Wednesday, same thing. Take 30 divided by 3. Got 10-minute warm up, 10-minute cool down, 10 minutes of 1-by-1. That is 5 sets of 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. And the hard that you're going for is no harder. You want to be fighting that half marathon effort over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. And so as we speak, I am going through the Coach MK YouTube channel because I believe there is a video in which you specifically describe this. So let me, you continue talking as I find that, and maybe Thursday we're off, Friday we're off, Saturday we take a walk. Is that what we like to do?
Because it depends. I like a 20-minute.
That's where it kind of depends.
Recovery run on Thursday, then Friday off, Saturday off, race on Sunday. If it's a race on Saturday, I like 20 minutes on Thursday. If that is totally optional. Friday off, race on Saturday. Whether you take 1 day off for the fresh legs or 2 days off for the fresh legs is completely up to you. How much does it impact the outcome? Very little.
Mm-hmm.
Only if you race that 20 minutes and decided to practice half marathon pace for 20 minutes, that could zap your outcome, because when it comes to power, your muscles coming back, it's not as simple as putting a gel in your mouth and the muscles and muscular power is back to where it was before. Once it's gone, it's gone, and it's not coming back for several days. So you got to be real careful if you're not an elite runner. So elites and pros, what they do, that's where it gets very different from us, because they're fitter and stronger.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's better and we're worse. It's just, it's different work. And our work, I don't know, it doesn't suck.
It doesn't. I like it. I like it a lot.
Me too.
All right. I am going to find that, and we're going to put it in the show notes. I am not able to come up with it, and I don't want to completely take all of my attention away from answering questions, because we have more questions.
We have more questions. We have no Facebook, and we have really good stuff dropping tomorrow morning in the Fitness Protection Podcast. If you are not a subscriber, I strongly recommend you do it now. We've got a really good episode, 2 weeks of fun conversations. And by fun, I mean there are things in this world that even I don't want to talk about, and we decided to push forward and talk about some of them. And we're going to be talking about them for the next 2 weeks. Diet culture incorporated, and why in the world is it bad to be fat? When did fat become a negative attribute? When did it become an insult? You can be healthy at any size, and you can be really effing unhealthy at every size too.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't notice it unless your BMI is under 17, and there's something wrong with that.
Yeah. And we thought this was going to be one sort of throwaway series of comments, perhaps at the beginning of the Training Pete's podcast we did this past week. And then we realized, nope, that's really not going to cut it. This needs to be its own podcast. And then it grew into even more than that. And it was hard, and it took a lot out of both of us, I think, but I'm really, really glad that we did it. And I really hope that people, find it helpful and find it validating.
If you saw just based on the live stream alone, if you saw all the letters from the parents of children, male and female, by the way, parenting, eating disorder recovery, I mean, I think it's a timely conversation that needs to be had, because there is from saying like, oh, it's a cheat day because you feel the need to apologize or feel judged for going to the break room and having like a third piece of cake. That person that you might be talking to, you have no idea. They might be in some stage of eating disorder recovery, and that's a lifelong thing. So the things that we feel self-conscious about, things that we apologize for, can land very differently on other people. And while they work to give everybody else grace, because diet culture is huge and it's everywhere, we need to combat that in order to give them the grace that they deserve too. And for the final time, not the final time, that's a joke. I'm going to be saying this a lot. There is no such recreational Adderall. The only prescription drug abuse. Michael Jackson died from an overdose of what? Fentanyl. You don't hear recreational fentanyl because Schedule II drugs cannot be used recreationally. Heard of OxyContin? Heard of recreational OxyContin? No, because it doesn't exist. OxyContin is incredibly addictive. It is potent. It is at the forefront of a national conversation we're having about opioids, which are derivatives of opium, also a class 2 drug that is highly controlled, highly addictive, and that is why it's controlled. Adderall, Vyvanse, both also fall into that same category. There are a few other drugs that are used to treat ADHD. All of them are stimulants. All of them are class 2. Like the idea that you could use them recreationally is disgusting. It's disturbing. And there's something really, really wrong with that. So you're going to get to hear exactly what I think about that. And yeah, I get a lot stronger and a lot more profane as the next 2 weeks are going to progress. Yay.
I'm not sorry.
I'm not either.
So I hope we answered that question sufficiently about the taper and about Training Peaks. If you have questions, please throw them in the chat tomorrow. I will be posting these. I'll be posting the video from Twitch and the Facebook groups as usual. And those will be coming out in our podcast feed. Yay.
Hey.
So next maintain question. Back to school has hit me hard this week. As a result, I missed my long run. I do it on Mondays. And the workouts, run and strength, on Thursday and Friday. Should I just pick up Sunday's run and Monday's long run as is? Or should I ease back into it with a shorter amount?
If this is your first month in maintain, then yeah, we need to go a little bit shorter because there's no point in taking risks. If this is not your first month, I say go set out and just pick it up as written. I'm not a fan of making up workouts. It just overcomplicates life and it doesn't really do you any good. I missed a hard effort workout this past week. I did not attempt to make up the miles. I didn't even mention it. I'm like, it is 2 miles of 1x1, which is 1 mile of tempo effort. I mean, there's so many other ways I can claw that back if it becomes really necessary later. It's just not worth the stress now. So I would encourage you, like the less stress we can have, the better. Because more stress, more difficulty, more complication does not improve the outcome in any way. So if this is your first month, though, definitely ease in. Only do what you're comfortable doing. Like listen to your body and not the training plan so much. In subsequent, though, you don't have to worry about it as much. I mean, it's not like the jump from 75 minutes to 1 hour and 45. MK, that's a half-hour jump. I'm like, shrug. Not really. If you go back and it's a cutback week, it's seriously not a big deal. When you train the way that we do and we maintain year round and we're really moderating volume and we're keeping an eye on the big picture. And it's not like, well, I haven't really been running before I started this training plan, so this is part of my buildup. Then yeah, the jump from 75 to 145 is huge. Take that seriously. But that is for every other program, not ours. Here, you can miss one and keep on going because that is exactly what we need to be able to do. That is the true flexibility of what we have on tap.
Yeah, totally. All right. These last 3 questions, and the first one is a 2-parter. These are all from people who are marathon training right now.
Great. So thank you for separating those last, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So if this is you, if marathon training right now is you, then you may want to listen up because I think we'll have some good wisdom coming at you. So the first is a 2-parter. Question 1. I know that sleep and nutrition are important. Can you explain why lack of sleep and not getting enough protein may result in that heavy leg feeling? I know you've probably talked about this before, but I could use a refresher. And then question 2, 1x1s are next week. Should we address heavy legs first and then do 1x1?
Before my kids yell at me and I hear screaming in the other room, and I'm like, all right. So sleep deprivation is a legit form of torture. And that's I mean, if any movie you watch about 9/11 or you watch about with Jessica Chastain from that point of view, they would keep, or Homeland, if you watch Homeland, I can't wait for that show to come back. What they do is they will keep suspects awake for days on end, trying to get them to confess. So I tell you that to tell you this, being a little sleep deprived is a really big deal. It inhibits your brain function. It inhibits the neurological pathways between your brain, which sends muscles through those pathways to your muscles. So where the dead leg feeling is coming from when you're specifically sleep deprived is like, hey, we don't have energy to do this. And the signals are misfiring. When you're low on protein, your body, when you haven't been eating enough of it, your body has to cannibalize its own muscles. Basically, it's another reason not to overtrain. The more it is not necessarily better. It's because you're not improving, you're not cheating, you're not getting ahead. You're doing it at the expense of your own body. So the more we train, the more protein we need to take in. The more that we do, the more nutrition we need. You heard at the beginning of this broadcast, I was like even a little embarrassed that this is my first ramp in a very long time. And my coach is like, maybe you should think about nutrition before and after you run. And I'm like, really? Oh, okay. And it made a huge flipping difference, a huge difference. I mean, Deb and I didn't even talk about this, but I felt so good. The guy we were running with was like, well, any benefits from that pre-race drink should have worn off. Now we're 2 hours into the run. I'm like, really? Watch this. And I took off, and my last 3 miles were the fastest. Not just to prove a point, but like I was truly thinking I would just go for like shoot up the hill and then laugh and be like, okay, that was stupid. But I could keep going. And that's a big deal because there have been some days this week I didn't think I could finish my 1 hour run because my legs didn't feel it and it didn't feel it outside. So all of that is why protein matters, proper nutrition matters. If you're in a muscle building phase of any sort, whether you're lifting weights or running, you are still building muscle. You need more protein in order to do that. If you're not seeking out exogenous protein sources, your body will steal from muscles you are not using at the moment. It is cannibalism. Don't do that. Yay. It's not efficient. Unless you're in the donor party.
Yeah. So that is when people talk about heavy legs, that's usually kind of the first thing that jumps to mind. And that's the first thing to check on. And if
can't generate power.
Right. And if you're like, my protein intake's been pretty good, I'm pretty sure of that. And I know that because but I mean, have an honest conversation with it. But that's, if that you don't think is the culprit, then it's good to check in with your doctor or a nutritionist or something and see. It
really is, because every time I've ever said, nah, that's fine, I've been wrong. And y'all had to watch my coach tell me that I needed to dial my nutrition in a very gentle way.
She was very gentle about it. It's true.
Very gentle.
All right. So the second part of this question, 1-by-1s are starting this week for me, as we were just discussing. And I was just wondering how we figure out what race effort is supposed to be. Are we supposed to use the A pace from the EAT?
Have you ever used the A pace from the EAT? Have we ever used the A pace from the EAT as the marathon pace?
Not as the marathon pace. No, we did use it in a workout on this marathon ramp, but no, not so. I think she's asked, like, give me some parameters. I know that you have said that our marathon pace will be somewhere between easy effort and the A pace from the EAT. So she knows. My easy effort pace and my A pace are 2 minutes and 30 seconds apart from each other. So what do we do with this workout where race effort? I asked myself the same question this week when I did this workout for the first time.
And what did you do?
I actually could not get my watch to frickin' behave, so I couldn't program the workout with pace zones into it the way I like to, which made me mad. But then I just went out and did it with, breathing and effort only. And I pressed the lap button after every minute. So 1 minute at what felt like race effort, 1 minute back to easy effort. I knew I should not be going my A pace. I wanted the average pace for the minutes to be slower than that. So I aimed for, 30 seconds to a minute slower than my A pace.
Okay. Here's how I look at it. There's a widespread, and I know you're concerned about that. Like that is 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, 2 minutes and 30 seconds is a lot.
That is huge. That is like, what do I do? And this is where we have to accept that you're not a robot. And you're not a leader professional. A leader professional is when you think about the range that Steph Bruce Rothstein has between what her easy effort pace, which is around 620 mile, I gather from Twitter, her Twitter, and her marathon race pace, which is like 5:35, It's around a minute. And then like her indoor 5K pace is like a 5:15, which again, it's ungodly fast, but that's still a pretty narrow range when you think about it. Like she can feel the difference in a marathon at 5:35 and a 5K of 5:15. That is like a 30-second difference, a 20-second difference that she can feel. Most of us, I know right now, I can't even feel a full minute difference. I'll be like, oh, this feels fine. And I'm like, oh my God, no, it's like 9:30. I got to slow my roll. It's an easy effort day. So I say that lovingly. On paper, that looks really big. In practicum, fuck knows. It's a different story. The rule of thumb I would use is you don't need to be any more than 1 minute per mile faster than your 140 pace when you're looking at a deviation like that, which is not to say what you did was wrong, Sarah. But because it's more like what you did, you blew the workout.
Well, my range is much tighter. So I was not much more than 1 minute faster than my easy effort pace.
Yeah. And at some point when we get there in full aerobic alignment where the deviations look exactly like the Macmillan calculator, it'll all get a whole lot easier. But for now, it's not about predicting your finish time. Running a faster pace is not going to improve the outcomes. It's just going to make you a little more tired and increase the chances that you're overtraining. That's literally not how training works ever. So to that end, I would start at 1 minute faster than your easy effort pace and start feeling out that effort. Remember, final note, the A pace on the EAT is not the marathon effort. It is maybe half marathon. It's a decent proxy for half marathon on a great day. I said that with like no caveats, like the angels are singing and, the clouds roll aside and like there is a celestial being guiding you to the finish, which is not to say it can't happen. It can. But you counting on it or betting on it or making that's my A goal. You are setting yourself up for disappointment and failure. Please don't do that. That's not fair to yourself. That's not fair to the day. It's not fair to your body. And it's not fair to all the hard work that you've been doing to get here. The best we can do is understand that this is my range. And the fitter I get, the more narrow it's going to get. The more power I generate, the more efficient I will be, the narrower these ranges are going to get. So for now, let's stay on the conservative end, hope for a really great day. And if you feel better, go faster. But for now, let's just practice getting to know that effort really, really well. And rather than get wrapped up around numbers and then start thinking about the finish time and do bad runner math, that's going to mess you up with what little time we have left to prep.
Yeah. Yeah. The one, so if in case this is helpful to you, when I did this workout, because I could not really use pace as any kind of, guide, I was only looking at after the fact, after each minute, what was the average pace for that minute? And like, is it too fast? Do I need to correct? And that was helpful to me. But what was more helpful than that was just really focusing on what it felt like. Like I want to get good at finding race effort and not going faster than that. And then bringing it back down, finding it, not going faster. Because whenever I do pace-based workouts on a track and the first interval is at 5K pace and I'm like, and I'm out is there a sad baby? Yeah. I'm sorry.
Right.
Anyway, I like going, and I think a lot of us have experienced this when you're like, all right, it's time to go fast. 1 minute, boom, let's go. And you go really fast and all of a sudden you're like way, way, way too fast and you have to bring it back. So one by one is a really good opportunity to just find it without overshooting it, hold it, and then let it go. Find it without overshooting it, hold it, and then let it go.
Because remember, that's really what it's for. At this point, we're not getting fitter. We're just finding that pace, that effort over and over and over and over. And it's not about, okay, one of them was like an 8:10 and the next one was an 8:35 and the next one was an 8:2. It's like, who cares? No. It's about finding the effort over and over and over again. And it's not, you're not Steph Bruce Rothstein. So that effort is not going to translate into one consistent number every single time. She's a machine. She's gorgeous. She's amazing. And not to say that you can still be gorgeous and amazing, but we're not machines and we're not there. Until we're there, we hope for the best and we make good choices. And that's, we've just given you the framework to do that, I hope.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. My head is kind of playing games with me right now. I have one more 20 miler left before my marathon, had my best long run and final EAT to date. Woohoo. So I'm super curious to see how my run goes. Pumped to be exact, but I do have one question. My last 20 miler is this week, which is just 2 weeks from my marathon. My heart is saying that's plenty of time to rest and recover before race day since they're a comfortable heart rate. But my head is saying, seems like I should be cutting back and tapering this week. Can you help ease my head again on a long run just 2 weeks away? I'm assuming it's because we run them easy and have a nice taper after. Thanks.
Basically, yeah. Look, if it makes you uncomfortable, you don't have to do it. If you really want to cut that down because that'll make you feel better about it, cool. I'm operating on the assumption you're on this steady plan.
Dedicated.
Really? Way to go, Karen. Proud of you. It's not lesser at all. It's just you always push yourself so hard. I'm very much of the mindset that it will be okay, but you know you best. If you're not feeling it, you already have everything you need in the tank. One more 20 miler isn't going to make you that much more fitter, more prepared, or faster, but you're right. That is a risk that we could be taking. So for most people, it's not one that I worry about, but if considering all the stress that you've been carrying lately, I'd be like, 16's good. Get up to 16 and you're fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also consider that, you've never trained quite this way before, in the sense that like you've been doing maintain consistently for months and months now. You've been keeping a long run on your schedule for a long time. You are used to long runs. Your body is used to recovering from long runs. You are a different kind of athlete now that you are doing this maintain thing all the time. And if I had to guess, I would say that is part of why this is the way the ramp works for people who have been doing maintain consistently. We don't need as much time as someone who is starting marathon training plan from a much smaller base than what you started with.
Yeah, for sure.
So last marathon question and last question in maintain. Hey coaches, I think a few of us are in our last weeks of race training. That is correct. Can you talk through race strategies for our marathons? I know I saw a Facebook Live you did last spring, but now that it's fall, could you walk us through the heart rate caps for the different stages of the race again? Thanks as always.
You know what? I'm not deflecting on this, but I'm going to demur on it for now because I do want to talk about race strategy. And there will be some documents.
I said good because I want to hear you talk about race strategy.
There are some documents that we're working on that are going to be coming out very soon. There are a couple of things we have to get out the door, and then these are going to be coming, but you're going to be seeing our generic plans. And we're also going to be doing some live streams with a friend of mine. I'm really excited about them, but I've decided to bring in a professional to do some bad runner math with me.
What? A professional in here?
Professional math doer.
Oh, a professional math doer. Oh my God.
Professional runner. Oh my God. What professional runner is going to want to talk to me?
Right.
And how would that work for you? All right. It's my friend is a teacher of science and of math and science at one of the HGT, the highly gifted and talented schools here in Denver. And yeah, it's a middle school, but she is incredibly good at taking concepts and distilling them down to the most necessary numbers. And I've seen her a lot this weekend. She's been some of the people hanging at the pool party. And I was like, gosh, you know what? Slope is the weirdest thing to try to calculate and people can't conceptualize it. And then she just spat something out. Well, try this. And I'm like, why don't you come over to my house and do this with my whiteboard? Yay. So as soon as I'm back in my house with the whiteboard, go ahead and send me the races you guys are training for. If you go to thecoachsandlove.com/blog, you will see some of my old school first draft. I used to do course reports for my clients at Lifetime Run. They were not formal. They were not as pretty as the ones that I did elsewhere. But the original ones that I did for my clients, I used to send an email form. I have copied and pasted those emails and put them on my blog. And if the course has changed and my course report has not, do let me know. But that would be a great place to start, is to go to the blog and see if your race is on there. If not, email me. Let me know. I will get you a course report and we will talk through how to synthesize that with my generic race strategy. So, and by generic, that doesn't mean it's less than. It's just like, if you really want to pay a one-on-one coach, you are still not going to get anything. You've seen how I talk to my coach. It's not like we're going to do math and predict the future and come out with numbers from mile by mile. It doesn't work that way, because the way I've been talking to everyone, it's the way coaches all talk to each other. It's the way my coaches have always talked to me. You guys are getting the good stuff. So with that, I want to get more good stuff for you, and I don't want to give it to you in video form. And we're going to be doing that very soon, but I've got to get back to an internet connection that is stable, because I don't have that here.
Yeah. A couple more weeks will be cooking. As soon as I got the stable internet, then you lost your stable internet. We have been We've been like tossing charcoal briquettes back and forth, like flaming like, here, okay, no, can you hold it for a second? I got mold and ceiling falling down over here.
But we are still stable geniuses that are here to take care of all of you through the rest of this fall racing season. So again, let me know if you don't find the race strategy or the course report on my blog. Let me know. We will be coming out with more documents. Not yet. There will be later that we come out with the pretty little course reports for people. That's not at the tip top of my to-do list. But I will give you my previous course reports, which have not edited. That was just me typing out emails and my thoughts. So you can go get those emails and those. And you'll get the pretty graphics from our Wayfinder, who has been coming up with the generic marathon strategy. Not today, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be coming soon.
Yay! Can I put you on the spot real quick and ask you a question? Something that I've always wanted to know. Have you run every single one of those races that you have course reports on? I know you have athletes that have run. Okay, no. So you just because. Okay, I'm a little relieved because you know so much about so many races, and I'm like, you have a lot of athletes and friends who have run a lot of things, and you have spectated a lot of races.
And I do a lot of research. Like if there's someone that's running a race that I'm aware of, if I haven't run it, I call the race director. I call a friend who lives in the area. I call any of the elite runners that I used to run with in New York City because those guys run all the time. And if they don't, they'll have someone call me who did.
That's amazing.
I do Google searches, but I also have like the general idea of what I look for in a good race or if I'm looking at a race, again, screening for outliers is the most efficient way to go through information that you might not understand on a deep granular level the second you go into it. This is one of the first things you learn to do in complex logistics or data analyses. Logic was my favorite course in college. If there's one thing I would encourage all kids to take, it would be just a basic introduction to logic course, because filtering outliers and then seeing where that comes from is a really, really, really terrific place to start. So I have an idea of what I don't want in a race that I would be running for a PR. So I go through and I use that framework to look at a race that I've not run before for the first time. Is there anything that sticks out? A client has told me that they're going to run this for a PR. Is this a bad idea? And look for the red flags that, yes, this indeed could be a bad idea. Then on top of that, I'm like, well, what works for this race? They chose it for a reason. And I try to come up with those reasons and reconcile, here's the worst that can happen. Here's the most likely scenario. So this is what you need to watch out for, but you picked it for a reason, cling to those reasons and go have a great day.
Yeah. That makes so much sense too, because like having run races, like I couldn't give a good course report on races that I've run, but not researched at that level, because like running a race does not make you're in a crazy headspace when you're actually racing it. You're like, oh my God, that hill was terrible. And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, it felt terrible maybe because you didn't do the strength. And that was me, by the way, when I ran Mount Desert Island Marathon. I did not do any strength training. People, if you're listening and you've run the Mount Desert Island Marathon and you train with us.
Amy Wilson is laughing at me right now.
Amy Wilson is laughing at me right now. Let that sink in for a second. Like I was an idiot. So I love,
because my favorite is when people are like, oh, none of the hills are that bad. They're only like 30-foot rollers. And I'm like, but they're two of them.
Wow. The highest point is at mile 25. It's so mean. Oh my God. I was in a world of pain. There's also a
lot of downhill. It's a net flat course. I'm like, what the fuck is that net flat course? that is someone that knows how to do math that just sold you up. But like, let me tell you this. I don't know. Don't get me started. The good marketing, and it's not to beat up on marketers. It's just like, but you got to think about it. Net flat, it nets out. Really?
Yeah.
Come on. So does Big Sur. That don't mean there ain't no hills.
And on that note, that is all the questions that we had this week. And
yeah, because Amy is like laughing at you on Twitch right now. So I think we got to go.
Yeah, I know. I got to go hide my face. I've admitted that. Oh, she's literally laughing at me on Twitch right now. Uh-huh. Yes. But by the way, I have admitted that before. This is not my first time admitting that I was an idiot when I ran that race, because I don't want anyone to repeat my mistakes. And Amy Wilson did not repeat my mistakes. She did an amazing job at that race. And Adrienne Holmes is running that race, and I'm excited for her because I know she's
Yay!
Eat all the lobster. Do all the strength. You're going to be great. Fall race season. I'm so excited.
Marathon, 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 marathon. You are coached. You are loved. You are winning at life. My marathon's coming up too. I can't wait. I feel better about it after my long run today. Get your races in. Get your questions in. And if you have not already subscribed to the Running Life, the Fitness Protection Podcast, do that because we got a surprise coming at you at 5 a.m. Mountain Standard Time tomorrow morning, kicking off a fabulous conversation, long overdue, about all the forces coming at you. Yay.
Have a good night, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.